Hey, I'm Kev Welcome back to MotoGP 19 and the MotoE World Cup. So in the pole session, trying to qualify well for once. I mean, we did qualify in 6th in Austria. And managed to romp to victory as Bradley Smith hoping to do a bit better around this Misano World Circuit. Marco Simoncelli. Let's go heavy braking into these rights. In through the left. Going to power slightly early. We've gone to the back straight. And it's a very tricky circuit as well. You can see lots of moves into this left-hander, into the hairpin. We saw it hard now for the far section after this double right. Going to power slightly early. As now here we go, the right-hand sweepers. Making well over 200 kilometers as you can see. That out in the first one, are we? Yep, totally did not run wide. Bit wider in the third and in the hairpin. The fourth one where again we might expect to see some moves and manoeuvres. In the back straight. On a corner, you can chuck the bike at it, and especially the last corner as well. That's the end of that with hopefully be under 140. Not quite, as the Major does get pole under 140. Granado in second and Salvadori, Rafa De Angelis, Depunier, Hook, Ferrari and Simeon. We ran out the top 10 ahead of Gibernau for a Castadelli, Garzo, Tirol, Tuli, Herrera and Hinapa. So you are waiting for the lights to go out for the first round the Misano World Circuit. Marco Simoncelli, the halfway mark of the season. As it's the third round, it's an 8-lapper. So it's just 7 laps in real life. As we go through the first corner. Trying to have to do some Savio Simon moves here into that left hand as we fall down the order. Outside the top 10. Then got to brake a bit early for the right hander. I know we're finding some moves around the inside of a free ride situation. And again, around the outside. Oh, fantastic acceleration ahead of Simon. Ryan Gibernau up into 7th. As Semejo leads ahead of Granado. So who's that going very wide on the left, right hand side? As we're up to 6th. We're trying to get the cut back on the Pramac here. It's Canepa ahead of Garzo. 414 trying to get past De Angelis, the home hero. San Marino's, isn't it? Has got Raffin in 4th, so we got Demeglio and Granada battling for lead. Who's in 3rd then? Don't need to make a move there. Back out of it. Got Tirol and Salvadori battling down the order. Someone down to 12th now. We've got Gibernau and Artel. Between a couple of veterans here. Gibernau and De Angelis. Let's all set up that exit beautifully into the top 5 as head on to the second lap here. Quite a long circuit for these MotoE bikes. As De Angelis just overtakes us off track, so he gets the Savio Simon treatment. Gets sent right as Salvadori up to 9th ahead of 4-8. As once again, De Angelis overtaking off track. As he cut his nose off into the next corner. I know he's kind of beside us, but need to make a move on here. Catch up to the top 4. It's Ferrari and Gibernau battle over 7th. It's halfway through this lap. We've gone through the slow part. Now it gets a bit quicker. These right hand sweepers coming up. Try and get a good exit. Oh, fantastic exit. Slipstream, maybe down the inside, do we, into the first right hand. It's risky. Well, it works there on Raffin. That's the MotoE veteran. It's all a bit wide there. Raffin taking it down the inside. Not quite. So ahead of him, we've got Depugne in third. Great ride from the French. We've got all the veterans up it. On his fellow countryman, Meggio. I think Granado leads the way. We'll check in on that as he crosses the line. The 39.5, fastest lap. No, it is. Meggio leads, but here comes Granado. Down the inside into the left. He does the move, takes over the lead, does the Brazilian. Here comes the Frenchman for 125, or the 125cc world champion from over a decade ago now. As it go a bit wide for the right, so easy to do that. As we try and push a bit with our bike. Well, he's pushing us wide everywhere. He's got a very different order than we had in real life in the first race around Misano. Such a crazy race it was. We had 5 retirements, just 13 finishes. Inside right from the off. Quite a lot of moves on the opening laps of jostling. And so Mike DiMeggio, the championship leader at the time, of his bike slow down. And so he wasn't able to do anything in that first race. He got going again, but he had to fully retire it just a couple of laps later. In the early stage, saw Bradley Smith fall down the order, and he got into a battle with Vicky Tulli and Matteo Castadelli. And the finish rider, the winner of the opening round in the Saxby room, had a move into the hairpin at the left-hander, which was a bit ambitious. So a 3 wide, and unfortunately the Finn took them both out and ended his MotoE season there. As he broke his wrist and a femur as well, some bones. And so yeah, he didn't participate in the second half of the round and got replaced by World Supersport champion Lucas Matthias, flying around in Valencia. Or was meant to. Don't think the Frenchman actually started either race. As once again cutting off Bernier's nose onto the back straight, Salvador ahead of Tyrol. And so Bradley Smith continued running the Brit, ended up in 12th. That's a bit of a dive on DiMeggio. As we approach the halfway mark of this race, it actually worked out for us in the end, ahead of the Mark Vidius man. Or did it? As he tries to dive back. We'll give him the room. They just give us a bike's width on the exit. See if acceleration get back up into second. We can't let Granado get away. We catch up to the Brazilian. So just 6 tenths behind him. We can't let him get up to like over a second lead. Definitely went through that penultimate corner. A bit better through that penultimate corner than the rest. And definitely use that to our advantage to gain. Maybe get a good launch out of this final corner. And make a move into the first corner. So he set the fast at 39. See, we're getting towards the 38s now. Found our rhythm round here then. Round Misano. It's all a bit wide. It's going to the second of the race. But not bad again. Qualifying's not that good. I won that pace, but over a race pace, definitely got the pace it. As we go onto the back straight, almost a second ahead of DiMeggio as well. This is going to be a 2-horse race. This is. I know what happened in real life, but for the most part, it did. You had the Angius on pole. Similar rider, and he led in the first place. He did start to drop down the order when he actually went out of the race, crashed out at the end of that first kind of tricky section coming coming through the right hander before the left onto the back straight. Just the lost the rail, got clipped, and he was out of there in the blink of an eye. So this was over. So that's all. We've got to brake here. I've got to concentrate slightly. So that's 4 retirements, and we thought we might have another one with Eric Granado busy, and he crashed out the lead in Austria. He's leading us, as you can see, right in front. So he's working his way up the order after a poor qualifying. And as he was approaching the top 5 once again, he went down in the hairpin. Actually, was it a hairpin? I can't remember now. It might have been, but yeah, he went down and he ended up in 13th behind Bradley Smith, the last of the finishers. Was the Brazilian. As he also said goodbye to Kenny 4-8 in the race too. So only 13 finished, only 13 that scored points. But left Matteo Ferrari, the Italian, in his home race, batting for the win with Xavier Simon for the most part, the Belgium, making the move on. So I'm calling the Simon that move into the left hand at the start of that, because he made a couple of moves like that for the lead and get up the order. In the end, Ferrari just had enough. Grabbed his first victory in the MotoE, which happens to take the lead in the MotoE World Cup as well. As we get past Granado, do we? Slightly through the right, and we do. And then we brake way too early. And give it right back to the Brazilian. Let's go 1.4 second lead by into Mike. Mike DiMeggio. Yeah, great victory for Ferrari in his home circuit. And then Hector Garza, who was charging through the Spaniard. He was kind of always around the top 5. He worked his way through the top 5, got to 3rd, and was right in the tail. He joined the top 2 on the final lap. And then made the move on Xavier Simon. Onto the back straight. Like you saw we did. We moved for second on Meggio. That's what Garza did into that first sweeping right hand on the final lap. The Belgians, Simon. So still a podium for Xavier, but I'm a bit disappointed as the young Spaniard just made his way through. He was a bit ambitious in Austria, making moves like that. And it cost him at least a podium, maybe a chance of victory, but got the result in the first race in Misano. Superb ride. We had just off the podium, Jesco Raffin, the Moto2 veteran, with his best result in MotoE. Ran out top 5 ahead of Canapa. And then in 6th was Mia Herrera, who had a superb qualifying in 6th, did the Spaniard. And she's just as good as the race, running in the top 5 for the most part, just lost out in the end, down in 6th. But she had a good enough gap behind that she wasn't worried by Lorenzo Salvadori in the last few laps of the race. To go into the last lap of this race as well. Still battling for the win here, the Brazilian. As I said, Nicolas Terral, Seti Gibernal from the back up to 9th. Good result. The veteran. And then Josh Hook rounding out the top 10, did the Australian. Having it down the inside of Granado is about too ambitious. So it's forced him wide. Let's go some it down the inside into the right. He turns into us. We're still here, Eric. And we make the move, block the inside through the left. Now can we get away and take our second victory in a row and maybe take the championship lead? I'm not sure we do, but we'll be very close though. Up there. And then just outside the top 10 he had Randy Depunier, the Frenchman, had a bit of an adventurous race. Along with Brady Smith with a damaged bike, make it through in 12th, and then Granado in 13th and at last. So it was superb first half to the MotoE World Cup, I found, like those first 3 races. Like It's actually when we were just kind of feeling it out. It had a premature end thanks to Salvadori's crash. Before first race, he still had some banging of wheels, some decent racing. And in Austria, had the wet race and some crazy battles, drama throughout. And the third race, yeah, it was just a crazy dry race in Misano, and it got just as crazy in the second race as well. Just as crazy as winning 2 races in a row. So we win by 1.2 seconds ahead of Granado, with Demeglio ran out the podium ahead of Fro Frenchman De Pugnaid, and De Angelis ran out the top ahead of Raffin, Ferrari, Gibernal Foray and Simeon, with Salvadori down in 11th in the end. What happened to him? Then you've got Terrell, Canepa, Castadetti and Tuli ran out the points ahead of Garzo, Herrera and Josh Hook. So we do lead the championship then by 3 points ahead of Granado at the halfway mark of the season, but we're just 4 points ahead of Demeglio, who drops down to 3rd. And a bit of a gap to Raffin, the Pugnaid into the top 5 by a single point ahead of Hook and Salvadori. And you've got Gibernal, Simon, De Angelis rounds out the top 10 just ahead of Foray. And you've got Ferrari, Castadetti up a couple places, Terrell up 4 ahead of Canepa. Herrera down 3 along with Garzo, with Tuli in last. Such a strange order seeing Tuli and Garzo right at the back when they were a couple of the quickest riders in the inaugural season of the MotoE World Cup. But next time we head into the second half of this season, once again we're riding round Misano as we recap race 2 in real life, round 4 of the season, and try and extend our lead with Bradley Smith with another victory hopefully in the second round, the 4th round, and then we head to Valencia for the last 2 rounds of the season. But thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.